Okay, Shishir Hattangadi, former Mumbai captain, one of the finest cricketing minds in India, joins us now from Ahmedabad. I'm going to put that straight to you. At the start of play, Virat Kohli would have been happy with 256 for 9, but perhaps when they're analysing the day's play right now, Shishir, they would have, a few thoughts in their mind at letting Stark run away with the game and getting Australia to 256.
Well, I'm not sure about running away with the game, Digvijay, but certainly, getting them to a level of respectability would be a fair thing to say. But yes, I mean, this score at the start of play would be something Virat Kohli would be reasonably happy with, if somebody had offered it to him. But not that last wicket partnership of 50 odd runs, which is really, it's not taken the game away from India, but certainly given Australia reason to believe that, if they are disciplined and if the leadership is tight, when I mean tight, is not leaking too many runs when India bats, they can almost put pressure on them over the next day and a half, considering they get to somewhere near 300.
Okay, Shishir, but let's look at it from the other side as well. Let's look at it from the Australian perspective. They were 82 for no loss at one stage, and they will be kicking themselves for ending the day at 256 for 9. They had the perfect start on a dry pitch, and when you do that, as you were telling me, the good openers, once they get in, they should carry on.
They should, but Digvijay, when you look at this test match, you realize that if your off spinner comes to bowl in the second over, you're actually living a very charmed life as a batsman. As much as you need to occupy the crease, you need to keep the scoreboard ticking and hit the loose balls for boundaries, because that's the only way you're going to accumulate, or it's going to reflect on the scoreboard. And that is something I think Australia were aware of. When you talk of devils in the pitch, or the pitch reacting differently, it's often that the good balls the balls that behave badly don't get you out. But it creates a doubt in your mind as a batsman that it's going to react, and you are proactive in your mind that the ball is going to do something. And this is where I think, a strong, steady temperament like Mitchell Stark showed, that when it's there to be hit, I'm going to go after you, because every run is crucial. And that is the way you need to bat on pitches like this. You cannot think of accumulating runs. It's about, keeping the scoreboard moving, opportunities to score, get the boundaries, because you're going to get a lethal delivery one way or the other and going to go back into the hut. So this is the way one needs to approach, and Mitchell Stark actually showed everybody how to bat on this pitch.
It's interesting you say that, because I was actually trying to figure out which were the dismissals which came as a result of the pitch, and I couldn't seem to find any instances. Also, this is a kind of a pitch tailor-made for someone like a Ravindra Jadeja. We also saw it in the series against England, that the ones which were actually more lethal were the ones that came straight on. And we're going to play some interesting numbers of Ravindra Jadeja. He seems to thrive in these conditions, and if you look at all the wickets he seems to have got in Test cricket, most of them are at home.
Yes, he's a quintessential, left arm spinner who comes out of this part of India, where they've learned how to bowl straight, spin the odd one, and really not give the batsman too much room to cut or pull, and on a slightly responsive pitch. Bowlers like Jadeja really are into play, because they bowl at that pace where you can't really step out to them and go over the top. It's only when they pitch short that you get time to cut and pull. Otherwise, they're at you all the time, and this is where Jadeja will be crucial in the fourth innings. He is your number one bowler in the fourth innings. Yes, Ashwin is the number one bowler in the world. He'll create your inroads, but the match will go depending on how Jadeja bowls in the fourth innings.
Also, I must say I was very impressed with the way Matt Renshaw batted. We're talking about the Indian spinners, but I liked the way he applied himself. There was pressure on him because he was going into this match ahead of someone like an Usman Khawaja, who got a century in the last Test series which Australia played. But he showed application. He went out there. He was injured. He had to retire hurt. He still came back. We're going to see his wagon wheel up on screen as well. And he managed to keep the Indians at bay simply by playing positive cricket. What I liked about the Australians in that first session was that they may not have got the runs in terms of boundaries, but they were always looking for those ones and twos to get the scoreboard ticking.
And Renshaw's approach to batsmanship as an opening batsman, especially in the subcontinent and at the age of 20, has been admirable for two reasons. One is he's either right forward or right back, and he's able to look for those runs when the situation demands. Now, as an opening batsman, sometimes you tend to sort of get into a mold of defending at times, and because you're so happy just occupying the crease. He's a smart enough player to realize that on a pitch like this, you need to accumulate runs as much as you can, because getting a 60 is much like getting 100 on a pitch like this, because you know that you have a charmed innings out there. There is a lot happening. The balls that spin may not get you out, but they create that doubt in your mind. It's much like, when you go through a health problem, it may not be the health problem that's troubling you. It's the pain that one may have to go through after the health problem. So there are a lot of things that play on the mind. It's a test of temperament, and more importantly, I think Renshaw showed all of us that, look, I'm not used to this situation. I'm not used to this environment, these pitches. But I'm going to keep it right simple here when I bat. I'm going to get right forward or get right back, and when the ball's there to be hit, I'm going to look for that boundary. And that is why he's come out such a strong player, because India produces and gives you an opportunity.
Yes.
Remember a player called Michael Clarke? He came to India, and with that 100, his career took off. He showed that similar application, being sure of getting forward or back, using opportunities to score when the situation and the ball demanded. And I think Renshaw will take a lot from this innings and go on from strength to strength as a promising Australian batsman.
You've got me all sentimental. That was my first test as well, Shishir, 2004, Bangalore as it was back then. But since you're talking about application, I want to understand something else from you as well. This is Steve Smith. He went out there, did all the hard work, absorbed all that pressure, got 96 odd balls he faced. But just when they lost that wicket, there was no reason for him to step out and try to hit Ashwin, and he hit him straight to Virat Kohli. Was it also because perhaps Virat Kohli had stifled the Australians so much, there were no free runs on offer, and Steve Smith felt he had to get a move on?
Look, Digvijay, I mean, Steve Smith's a type of player who's, he's a bustly player. He is a busy batsman. And whenever you see him bat, he's not going to hang around there poking around and, looking. He wants to take on the opposition. Now, to play an innings which is out of character for him is also, a challenge for him. He's never done it before. I don't remember seeing Steve Smith hanging around there, not looking to score runs. There are players who can, bore themselves to death and occupy the crease. And there are players who when the moment they go out, they say, if I play 40 balls, I should be 38, 40 or close to that. And this is the way they bat. And that is their mindset, and that is their positivity. At times they let themselves down and the team down because of the way they go. I mean, he got out at short mid-wicket, if I'm not mistaken. Now, that's a shot you don't get out to on a pitch like this, especially when you're reasonably set. But it's pulled off in the past. He's capable of making sure that he rectifies that and, probably puts it over the fielder or, hits it to the right or left of the fielder. But in a sense, this is the way he bats. He will bat this way. This will give him more success than, just hanging around, which is something out of character for him.
When I introduced you Shishir, I said Shishir Hattangadi is one of the finest cricketing minds we have around. So, give me the cricketing perspective. Look into that crystal ball and tell me, are India going to struggle on this pitch on day 2? And what will be crucial? We've seen what the Indian bowlers could do. But what do you think India will have to do to avoid a similar collapse?
Well, they will have to bat like Stark in approach. I'm not saying in demeanor or in the way he tonked the ball, but they have to look at it positively because they are aware that they are going to bat last on this pitch. If Hazelwood and Stark can use those cracks and pick up early wickets, then the pressure will be also on the spinners. WION is a skillful bowler. He's done it. He's somebody we know. But how O'Keefe bowls is going to be very crucial again. And if India can put those partnerships together or stitch those partnerships together and get that extra 150 runs on the board, we are in with, winning this test match. But if India struggle to get the runs that Australia scores, then again there will be a bigger challenge to bat fourth and bat probably better than they did in the first innings. So at the moment I'm saying Australia probably at par with a score of 250. Thankfully for that last wicket stand where one batsman only got one run and the rest was scored by Stark. But it'll all depend on how the roller plays in the morning, because Australia will get the first use of the roller. They'll go out there and bat. Considering they get all out, then India will again use the roller. So the pitch won't be naughty for the first 45 minutes to an hour, I hope. And then if India can build on those partnerships, but if they lose wickets, I think it's going to be a closer test match than you and I can fathom.
Yes, but India over the last few test matches have had that ability in a sense to build those partnerships and put the opposition teams under pressure. Shishir Hattangadi, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.